How's it, guys? Marcelo here. Once again, thank you for joining me for this geography lesson. Just want to thank Liberty for this opportunity to bring this show to you in the comfort of your own house. Okay, home. Do me a favor, go and follow the Tenfold Education app. It's definitely going to help you with the preparation for the final exams. So today's lesson, we're writing only in 2 weeks' time, but I'm going to go a bit old school over here, and we're going to start revising things that's quite important that build a foundation in grade 10 with climate. And we're going to look at synoptic charts, and we're going to have a look at weather station models. Okay, because weather station models gives us information regarding the weather that's being experienced at a certain place. Okay, you were first introduced to weather station models in grade 10, and we continue to test you in grade 11 as well as grade 12. And usually, where do you find weather station models? On synoptic charts. Okay, so I've got a beautiful diagram, figure 2.1, showing a weather station. Now, first of all, let's just quickly identify all the keys that's been drawn onto this diagram. Now, as you can see, we have a cold front in the corner. I'm going to label it. Okay, now what do we call these lines? As you can see, these lines are known as, sorry, you can't probably see it at home, let me just use a red pen. These lines are known as isobars, and the definition of isobars is lines joining places with equal pressure. Okay, and please pay attention. Look at the isobar interval. It's 4 millibar. Okay. Now, very importantly, this is our weather station model. It's situated over there. Okay. Now, a weather station model represents the following: temperature, dew point temperature, okay, and when we talk about temperature, we're talking about maximum temperature that's being experienced. Dew point temperature, quite important. What's dew point temperature? Is where condensation takes place. Is where the water vapor turns back into a liquid. Okay. What else does a weather station model represent? It represents the wind speed. Okay. Represents the wind direction, and the type of precipitation, okay, so a weather station model represents the temperature, the dew point temperature, the rainfall, the precipitation, the wind speed, the wind direction, and I forgot one, cloud cover. Okay, that forms the body of it. Okay. Now, this is quite important because many times a question is being asked in the final exam, describe the weather that's being experienced in Pretoria. And so many learners just tells me, no, they experience sunny weather, it's nice and warm, and yes, they might experience sunny weather, it's nice and warm, and then they might experience rain a little bit later. Unfortunately, that's the incorrect way to explain the weather being experienced at a certain place at a certain time. You need to refer to your temperature, your dew point temperature, cloud cover, wind speed, wind direction, and precipitation. All that information has been given to you on the weather station model. Okay. Very important. So when this question comes up in the exam, this is how you describe a certain place's weather conditions. Okay, grade 10, the first concept that you've learned, what's the difference between weather and climate? Climate, we experience over a period of 20 years. Okay. Weather, we experience daily. Okay. Changes daily. Okay. Now, going back. So first of all, when we look at this weather station model, the 3 represents the temperature. The -2 represents the dew point temperature. The wind speed is being expressed in knots. I'm going to write it there. Okay. Now, first of all, to interpret knots, this is known as 5 knots. This is known as 10 knots. This is known as 15 knots. The interval is 5. Okay. This is 20 knots. And last one I can give you an example is 25 knots. And obviously you can see the sequence continuing. 25 knots. Now, as you can see, the wind, first of all, the wind speed, as you can see, is 2 elongated lines with a short line that represents 25 knots. Okay, the wind direction, remember, wind is named from the direction it's coming from. Okay, so there's north. North is always on top, east, south, and west. If you take the body of the weather station model, and if you look at the direction, it's going to be roughly northwest or west-northwest. I'm just going to go with northwest. Okay. As you can see, next to the cloud cover, we have a symbol that represents precipitation, and that symbol is rain. And as you can see, the cloud cover, we express it in octaves. That's the body. I just want to quickly remove that. The body of the weather station model, as you can see, it's this area over there. That represents the cloud cover, and we express cloud cover in octaves. Now, I'm going to try my best to make beautifully round shaped circles. Now, first of all, right, we also use quarters. That's 1 octave. That's 2 octaves. That's 3 octaves. And then we have 4 octaves. As you can see, it's half of the body of the weather station model. Then we have 5 octaves. I don't want to run out of space over here. Then we have 6 octaves. Just taking some time. Okay, that's 5 octaves. Sorry, that's 6 octaves. And lastly, 7 octaves. And then lastly, 8 octaves, where your weather station model is completely colored in, like in the diagram. Okay, but there's an extra one that represents overcast, and it's just with a little cross inside. Now, grade 12s, if you open any textbook from grade 10 up until to grade 12, you will find a page next to your synoptic charts that represents these keys. Okay, some of your textbooks might represent your cloud cover in quarters, but many textbooks, and I prefer it when they represent the cloud cover in octaves. Okay, as you can see, like in on the diagrams that I've drawn for you. Okay, so the body of the weather station model represents the cloud cover. Okay, so I just want to do just the example because we're revising over here. Let's assume I ask you to present me the weather station model, draw a weather station model of Johannesburg. And I provide you with the following information. The temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. The dew point temperature is 18 degrees Celsius. Cloud cover, 6/8. Wind direction, let's say is southeast. Wind speed is, let's make it 15 knots. And the type of precipitation is thunderstorms. Okay, now, like I explained to you earlier, when they ask to describe the weather of a certain place, like for instance Johannesburg, okay, so for instance they might give you a synoptic chart. So you are sitting with the weather station model being presented on the synoptic chart. Now the question states, describe the weather being experienced at Johannesburg. Now you read the information from your weather station model. Now, for instance, I'm going to draw the weather station model now, but you're going to tell me, for instance, the temperature is going to be 28 degrees, the dew point is 18, the cloud cover is 6/8, the wind direction is southeast, the wind speed is 15 knots, precipitation is thunderstorms. Now, let me quickly explain to you. First of all, you start with your cloud cover, the body of the weather station model. Okay. As you can see, I've asked to go and draw a weather station model. So the cloud cover is going to be 6/8. If you look at the octaves, it's going to be that one situated over there. So let me just do it nice and properly. So that's the body of the weather station model. It represents the cloud cover. And quite interestingly enough, the instrument that we use to determine cloud cover is our eyes. You can see for yourself how much of the sky is covered with clouds, and you determine the cloud cover. Okay. So that's our cloud cover. Finished. We've done it. 6/8. Now our temperature, always remember, top left-hand side corner, 28 degrees Celsius. Our dew point temperature, 18 degrees Celsius. Remember, top, bottom, those bottom left-hand side corner. Now, grade 12s, do yourself a favor if you've got time. Go and Google a weather station model. There's a hell of a lot of information around it. Okay, but we're only using the basics as grade 12 students. So you can't go and write your temperature on the right-hand side. You can't go and write your temperature on the bottom left-hand side. Every symbol got a specific area around this weather station model. Vitally important, okay? So as you can see, the temperature, top left-hand side. The dew point temperature, top bottom side. Now what does the dew point temperature mean again? It's where condensation takes place. So we've covered temperature, that's done. The dew point temperature, it's done. Now we need to determine the wind direction. Remember, north is always on top. So there's north, there's east, there's south, there's west. I'll ask you, the wind direction is going to be southeast. So the wind direction is going to be, the elongated line is going to be here. Okay, so we've covered the wind direction. The wind speed, 15 knots. one long elongated line and a shorter one. That represents 15 knots. Okay. And then lastly, we have a symbol for thunderstorms. And there you go. I've just construct a weather station model according to the information being given to us. Okay. Now remember, you need to be able to describe the weather from the weather station model itself. Now let's get back to the question. Okay, once again, go and pay attention to your notes in grade 10 and 11. Now, if you look at question 2.1, figure 2.1 is an extract from a synoptic weather map showing weather conditions in Marion Island. Write down the recorded air temperature. Let me just clean up our diagram. Okay. If you look at it, what's our recorded temperature at the weather station model? It's going to be 3. Okay. Next question, state the dew point temperature. As you can see, bottom left-hand side corner, -2. Forgot to mention, look at the temperature, top left-hand side corner. You can't go and write it somewhere else. What is the wind direction experienced on the island? Said northwest. Okay. Then how fast is the wind blowing in the island? It's 10, 20, and 5. 10, 10, 5. So that gives us 25 knots. Okay. Then write down the air pressure experienced in the island. Excellent question. As you can see, there's 996, there's 992, it's right in between, so what's going to be the correct one? Probably 994 millibars. Okay. Now look at the interval, as you can see, 4 millibars between them. Describe the cloud cover, complete colored circle, so it's 8, 8. Name the type of precipitation experienced on the island. That symbol that we see over there means rain. Okay, so that's weather station models. Vice versa, you need to be able to go and draw one, and you need to be able to interpret one. Vitally important. You're going to get it definitely when a synoptic chart's being asked. Okay,